Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Table Talks today. We are so glad to be here today. It's a beautiful Saturday. Today, we are here with Bernice Michelle, and we have Martina Young, and I am April Starks. And I'll be actually facilitating this particular episode on this topic because today we're going to be talking about solutions for managing new money. Solutions for managing new money. And those who have been with us throughout this year, we have strived to have topics that related to solutions. Whatever we talked about, it was dealing with a solution for something. And if you have a topic suggestion, please go ahead and shoot that to us. We are open to suggestions. Just email us at tabletalksllp@gmail.com. Send us an email of topics that may be of interest to you. And you may have a passion or an expertise in the topic that you're presenting to us, and you would like to be a guest. Also, share that with us when you email us at tabletalksllp@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. But today we wanted to hit on this topic, and I'm so grateful that Bernice and Martina we're open to join in this topic because we want to make sure we let you all know we're not experts. We're not, financial experts, but we're coming to the table. It's like, brunch. We're coming to brunch today. We came a little bit later today. This is brunch time, lunch time, and we want to share and just talk about money. It's a topic that is needed to be talked about. Sometimes we don't want to talk about it because it may bring some triggers. It may bring some stress. It sometimes you'll want to avoid it, but we're gonna just bring it out today because I think it's important post pandemic that we talk about some of the things that relate to money. Um, and I want to dive in with just asking you two during last year, what were some things that you encountered with money? Were there some hindrances for you? Were you affected by the pandemic? If not, did you know individuals who were impacted? And how did that play out? What were some things that related to you even last year relating to money? And we'll build up to currently what we need to kind of look at.
You go ahead, Bernice.
Just one of you.
Like for me, the pandemic really did not impact me as far as like my work because I am in healthcare, and so I was not impacted on a financial. I actually probably made more because I had to work overtime, just from being there a lot. But I did see to where I took the value of money and I appreciated it a whole lot more. It made me just look at my circumstances a whole lot differently, that I was able to still be able to provide and to, have those resources that I needed because there were people who didn't have those resources, at the time. And, I know that in that time that there were people who started to really evaluate themselves and started businesses in that time. I know a lot of people who did that, who took advantage of the situation and saw it as an opportunity to bring in different income by using that were really resourceful, with what they had. What did they have in their hands? That they can come in and bring in more resources for their homes. And so, it just allowed me to appreciate where I was at the time and to also see that money is a resource. And I was really grateful to be able to remain in that space to be able to have that resource for myself and my family.
Shoot, I mean, money, sometimes people think of it in terms of just money itself, but I would say that for me, one of the most valuable things that came out of the pandemic in relationship to finances is that God showed me that, showed me about my relationship with money. And
Mm,
sometimes we don't think about money in terms of having a relationship with it, but we really do. And he showed me that I did not have a good relationship with money. Now, thankfully, I still had income, even though I am an educator, I still had income because we just worked online for school, initially when it was shut down. So I still had finances and income coming in. And actually, with the pandemic shutting things down, I would say was in a better place because whereas normally, in a year I would have went on multiple trips and that would have been money spent. So in 2020, there were no there were no trips, there were no family
Yeah.
vacations and all of that, which I missed all of that. But that was an opportunity. And like even in that, just because you didn't spend it on what you would usually spend it on, a good healthy relationship with money is saying, well, what should I invest it in? You know what I mean? Like where should I put my money at? And so in the midst of it, God and him dealing with me about my relationship with money, it also is a reflection of our relationship with ourselves. Because really, at this point in life, I would be in a different financial space if I had not spent years just feeling like I was everybody's rescue ranger. And whenever anybody needed something, whether it was God led or not, I would compulsively rescue anybody that needed help, whether it be with money itself, or even there were times where I would, out of lack of wisdom, allow people to put their expenses on my credit cards, expecting that people would pay me back. And in those times, but it really was just like freely give. But in the midst of it, we're talking about finances, but God showed me during the pandemic that was connected to the relationship that I had with myself, that I had a habit of taking better care of other people than I did myself. So I would say, like, God used the pandemic financially to readjust my vision of myself, to readjust the way that I treated myself. And literally, like you said, like money is related to self-care. Money is related. And if you're willing to invest in other people, but you're not willing to invest in your own self, there's an infraction there. And we're not supposed to be balanced, but we're not supposed to be selfish, but we need to come into a place of balance. And I feel like that God used the pandemic financially to do that for me. And I could go on because he showed me so many lessons, that even some of that relationship, some of that negative relationship with money was tied to a spirit of poverty.
Oh, yes.
And so, like, literally, all of that matters. And sometimes we go through life just carrying those things and not examining them to make adjustments. So I'm grateful for that. I was grateful. I thank God for income coming in. And it also showed me even just the timing of God, because 2 years, if that had happened 2 years prior, I would not, my position had changed. And if that had happened prior to my position changing, I would not have had income coming in.
Right.
So it just, God is faithful. But yes, so
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. No, you hit on some really good points. That it's a reflection of you. I thought that was really, really good. And sometimes we don't think about that. Because we know one of our most popular sessions or episodes or series that we had was the identity series.
mhm.
And all of that ties in together. If you go back, we just celebrated 1 year. Yay! Of Table Talks. So if we go back 1 year, we'll see that's kind of where we started, so that we're
Mhm.
identifying certain areas. We're identifying where those things are that throw us off. And that includes our finances.
Yes.
Um, and so I think that slowdown was good. And if you haven't had a chance um, since the pandemic to like really pause and evaluate, I think that's one reason kind of we wanted to talk about it, because we're good at sometimes just moving forward
Mm-hmm.
We're back open. You know, people are starting to go back out. Okay, well, what did we learn? What did
Mm-hmm.
are we taking time to meditate? What did you learn from that? It's not just get back to normal. It's like our last episode. How do we adapt for the new normal, the new that is here? And that includes, we should have a new perspective on money. We have new perspective on our health. We've made changes health wise. Certain ones are doing certain things to make sure their health is in better tact due to the pandemic, and making sure our immune system is up to par. What are we doing to make sure that our money's intact? What are we doing to make sure our finances are healthy? So that peradventure, in let's just say 1 or 2 years, we run into another catastrophe here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Will we have a reserve? You know, I wasn't affected because I was able to still work, and I thank God for that. But if I didn't, I would be in trouble.
Yeah.
Period. I would be in big trouble if I was not able to work last year. Our house will be gone. I'm just being truthful.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, please, please. So what do we do? You know, because you never know what's going to happen. No, there's no guarantee. So
Yeah.
those are things to think about and not take for granted. So
Yeah.
what are we doing to begin? I like that. Thank you, Mary. The reflection. So that's really, really good. Thank you for those comments. We have to do that. So then it makes us be better and to make better choices. So with that being said, what have you all maybe done to even shift now in 2021 to make some different changes in how you financially steward, you know, kind of what you have? I'll start off, and then I'll let Vernice or Martina, if y'all want to do it. But I know some things that I have started to change is to make sure that I pay myself allowance, and that is my allowance. Because I've learned, back to Martina's point about my relationship with money, if I don't designate, it's like everything is free for all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be out and about and just like, oh my goodness, I just spent $100, you know? So now, yesterday I went to the ATM. It was payday. I went to the ATM. I got my allowance. And guess what? That is my allowance for 2 weeks. When that is over, I don't care if you want to eat it up, go eat it up. If you want to buy some shoes, do what you want to do. But when that is gone, you're not going back to the ATM, or you're not pulling your card out. So that's something that I have disciplined myself with in 2021 to make that shift of just spending. So that has helped me tremendously. So that when the next I have money in there, it's not down to the wire and like you're like, wait till it's 12 midnight, waiting for the next. No,
Mm-hmm.
we're not doing that. And I'm starting to be preparing more. Like if I want something new, then I just prepare myself to save up for it. And then when I have the full amount, I go and get that particular thing. Like my dining room set that I just got. I'm so excited about it. It's cute. Um, but I mean, those are desires. You want them, but do you want to take the time in advance to go ahead and save up for it, opposed to charging it or putting yourself in more debt to get it?
Mm-hmm.
So just things to think about. Those are a couple things that I've implemented. Do you have anything, Bernice, that you've implemented for 2021?
Well, you know, kind of those same things. You know, I've 2020 made me to realize that I needed to have that, always have that emergency fund. You know, just to have just in case. You know, and that is something that I have really been intentional about, is to have that reserve. And so I brought that into 2021 to where I, you know, have that savings, you know, and, you know, my daughter, Leslie, you know, her and I, we just, you know, have this thing to where we are collecting our change, you know. She even ramped it up. She was like, so start throwing your $1 bills in there, you know, not just the change, you know, to where if we have any loose ones, it goes in there, you know. And so you never know, you know, we have to be mindful, because I am, and recognize who you are, in relationship to money because
Mm-hmm.
I'm an impulsive buyer. If I want something, I'm going to get it. If I want it because and I have it, I'm going to get it. And so recognizing that that is who I am, then I have to do things differently because, in the 46 years, 20 of those, are, however long I've been an adult, just that hasn't worked for me. And so you have to do, once you recognize something is an issue and it's not doing you any service, then you have to change it. And so, like you said, April, saving up. If I go and I see something and I see how much it is, and I'm like, okay, this is how much I have to save up. And if it's not there when I go back, I'll have to get something else, and just being in control of myself. Martina, you mentioned the word poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something I didn't realize, that I had a poverty mindset,
Mm-hmm.
that impulsiveness is directly related to my poverty mindset, because I'm like, I gotta get it now, gotta get it because it's never gonna, I can't, wait to get it. And so, just changing my mindset about, wealth. I literally tell myself I have the mindset of wealth, because I'm trying to change myself from that poverty mindset. So that is even what I do as well, is speaking to myself differently about wealth, about money, about what I have and how I can spend it. And also just taking different educational classes about money, because I have to unlearn some of the things that I've learned, over the years. My mom was a single mom, and I watched her, pay Peter to pay, rob Peter to pay Paul,
Mm-hmm.
and I adapted to that, lifestyle. And so just unlearning, taking the financial courses and all, and to be better educated, in my latter years, I want to, have more. And so those are just some things that I've implemented.
And it's something that you say that, like that, talking about what you learned from your mother. And that was in the midst of God dealing with me about that. He showed me different things that I had learned
Mm-hmm.
growing up with, my father's always supportive in there, but they were divorced. So growing up in a single parent household. And then the other layer for her is that she grew up in Alabama, and so, and poverty is what they were used to. And so they had to do different things to survive. And so one of the things that God revealed to me is that at time we will take that survival mode and make it our life behavior. And yes, we want to survive,
That's
but at
good.
times that survival mode then begins to bleed into a mindset of poverty. And so, literally, this for me, this during this time has been about dismantling, and I'm going to call it a mantle, dismantling a mindset of poverty. And so I've had to do that in various ways. It's like you said, Bernice, like not accepting the rob Peter to pay Paul. It should not be that you're down to the wire and that you have like $2 left before your next paycheck. That's not right. So that means that you have to monitor your account, make sure that you're not overspending, not just, and sometimes, I've had to catch myself in this time period, because sometimes when you have a little bit more, then I might ease up off of monitoring my checking account. And it's really like, don't do that. And see, even that is just like having a poverty mindset where, okay, I'm just going to do whatever and then wait for the next paycheck to hit. That's not the way we're supposed to live. And so, and at the same time, as we, a part of what we declare at church, I will not fear lack. Getting from a place of not fearing lack. There was a particular time that God used me going and getting something to help me confront the poverty mindset. Because I had been out walking, and then it was like, stop and treat yourself. And I was like, well, that might be a little higher to go and get that there. And it was a push for me to go and get it. And as I went and bought it and started driving, he literally began to reveal to me about how I had taken on that survival mode. I had taken on that poverty mindset and had walked in it for years. Even to the extent of, here recently, with you bringing up this particular subject, I thought about how when I first started working in my career and not investing in a 401k. Why? Because of generational cycles of not thinking to the future. Do you know what I'm saying? So like
Yes.
this time period has been about, and it moves in our lives in so many different ways. And so that's why I say dismantling it, like literally removing particles and pieces that have been connected to us about poverty. And that includes making sure, like you said, having a savings account and being intentional about adding to it. You know what I mean? And so like, and not making it, oh, I've saved some up, so now let me go and use it. No, save it up and keep it there. Paying off credit cards, like during this time, as there was pockets, pay it off. And if you put something on your credit card, pay the whole thing off. And so I went through all of my credit cards, labeled them all, went through, because sometimes we don't even know how much money we owe. So God had me to go through them all, look at the balance of
Debt
all of them.
buster. Debt
Here,
buster
yes,
list.
write out the list. Begin with the smallest one, like knocking off the smallest debts and then going to the next one. So what I do sometimes, if there's something that I need to put on, like where you have to use a credit card because it's online, put it on the one that's empty and then pay it off immediately. Because sometimes in the past, I'll be like, oh, well, I'll pay that off piece by piece. And then all of a sudden, what started out as $50 is now $800 because you keep saying that you're going to pay it off piece by piece. But a lot of that is tied up into a spirit. And at this point, I'm not even just going to call it a spirit of poverty. Poverty is a strong man.
It is.
That literally has to be destroyed.
Come on, it has to be destroyed. Yes, definitely. That's why we need to talk about it, because we can't come out of this and continue to do the same. We can't have these movements that are talking about empowerment and building up, even African American wealth in our communities and not change habits. You can't get a different result, and we're going to continue to do the same thing. Right? We may even need to think about, what is it that we're using our money for? Is it all consumption? I can look at a few months on my account, and most of it was food. Because that's literally all we could do. Like, honestly, my family, that was our treat, to get in the car and go somewhere and get something, because pandemic had y'all tied up. And it was like, wait a minute, we got to do better. When you look at this list, it's you consuming everything. You're eating it, literally. Eating it to some bad health.
Yeah.
In many situations, we're spending it in that way, and that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have the balance of enjoyment, but it is really getting that balance to see where it is. What percentage am I going to utilize for leisure, entertainment, and food? Like having percentages literally of your income. This is for entertainment, leisure, and food. This is for travel, trips, and like portioning it out so that you have a balance. That's a wealthy life.
Yeah.
That's wealth.
Yeah.
I don't have to be rich. If I'm wealthy, that means, listen, I can do what I do when I need to do, how I need to do it, and not be strapped, or do it and then come back later. I go on a trip and I come back and I'm 2 months stressed out because I got to make up for that trip. Was that really a trip of relaxation and enjoyment?
Right.
Because when I came back, I was stressed.
With what you're saying, April, I'm sorry, but literally sometimes we're more concerned about looking wealthy than being wealthy.
That's good.
That's real good.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, the future focus portion of money. What am I doing to build the wealth? And I wanted to share something, because I learned this years ago. Even when it comes to credit cards, I learned this years ago from an attorney. And I finally have just like got to this point, and because it took me like a decade. I kept telling my husband, I want to get to this point where Mr. Connor is, because he just showed a method that was so good, and I want to share it. So even having a card, we know that those increases and balances and stuff can really help our credit score. That we're utilizing that to build wealth. You know, we're using OPM, other people's money, right, to build wealth. And so let's just say you have a credit card that is a limit of, let's just say $2,000. Why not put all of your utilities, bills on budget billing, where we're not paying late fees anymore because we're being a couple days late because we forgot. Put it on automatic withdrawal from that card, on budget billing, so you know that your water bill is going to be $60 a month, whatever that budget billing is going to be. And then when you get paid, to your point, Martina, if my balance at the end of the month on that $2,000 limit card ends up being $1,000, because all of my utilities and all my bills that I put on there end up being $1,000. When you get paid, put the $1,000 on the card.
Mm-hmm.
And build a perpetual cycle of that building for you wealth, because it helps your score. It helps you. I mean, they definitely want to give you increases because they want you to go more in debt, but we're using it wisely.
Mm-hmm.
And we're using it so that we're timely on our bills, and our bills are budgeted at a certain amount every single month. It doesn't fluctuate because I'm on budget billing. So that was one method that he used that I thought was so good. And I had been wanting to get there and finally got there. And I want to talk about how even post-pandemic, like I want to share a testimony too, because I paid off some credit cards. I was so pumped. Like I only have one left.
Hallelujah.
Yes. And that was with like stimulus money and stuff. I was like, use this to like do something. Don't just spend it, you know, buying stuff, but pay off debt. And I wanted to bring that up too, because we're about to have another round of stimulus for certain people coming up. Start thinking about it now. What are you going to do to turn it, to get out of debt, so
Mm-hmm.
that you're freed up? Free yourself. Let's not wait for somebody else to free us. Free
Mm-hmm.
ourselves of those things, and then look and see what are the strategies that I can do to flip it. Or if I want to start some type of business or something on the side that generates additional income, start thinking about that now before they start making the deposits. I think they're coming the middle of July. So we're in the middle of June. We 30 days for you to think about, when my stimulus starts coming, what am I going to do? And I think this really impacts people with children who will be
Mm-hmm.
getting the monthly payments. Okay, if this is to stimulate the economy, even for our children, what are you going to do to invest it, to flip it for your kids?
Right.
Think
Yeah.
of your legacy. Think of your legacy. Don't think, man, they get ready to send me however much it is on July 15, August 15, and you thinking of the trips y'all grade take or whatever. That's fine. Maybe take your child on a trip, but maybe take half of that and invest somehow for your child, or start a savings fund or something to build wealth. So start thinking. You got 30 days to think about it. This is a good time to think about what we want to do with those extra funds that are about to come our way. I had another question for you all. What are some things that you all think we could do to help individuals and families, even financially, going forward in our community? Even some resources. I think Bernice mentioned, tapped into some resources that are available in the community to help us educate ourselves, so that we're prepared for it. Like we said, we're not trying to say we're experts. If you're watching this or you watch it later, put in the comments people that you know this is their thing, this is their lane, this is what they do all the time. YouTube, beautiful. Look, Lynn Richardson, look her up. She's awesome. She is on point when it comes to financial stability. Numerous videos on YouTube for her, Lynn Richardson. there's so many other people out there. Drop some names in the comment, because sometimes we got to educate ourselves as well as we go along, and not necessarily depending on other people. Do y'all have any resources or opportunities that you all know of in the community that can help individuals and families?
I know that Goodwill Industries, has financial resources there for those who want to tap in and connect with that organization. And so that is one resource in our local community that will be able to help individuals. And then I just want to just say this, that, those people who are getting that stimulus payment or whatever, to tap into the emotional connection that they have with money, because we make a lot of emotional decisions based, emotional based decisions, and we use our money, people who shop. I don't like shopping. I don't know this feeling, but there are people who go out and just shop, because I'm sad or I'm happy or whatever, and then wind up in a situation that is worse off than they were before, because they didn't allow themselves to emotionally tap into what was driving them to be able to go out and just spend frivolously. And so just be aware of the emotional connection that they have to money, and so we might be thinking, okay, on the 15th or whatever, I'm going to be getting this and I'm going to go out and buy this and that. But just ask yourself the simple question, do I need it right now? That's a simple question. Do I need it right now? Is this a want or a need? And even write it down, write it down. Is this a want or a need? And then to tap into that, then make your move. Sit and hold the money for a little bit. Don't go out, let's let it sit and think it through, because it might just be something internally that you're going through, that you are using, buying things as a emotional filler, but you have a closet full of clothes that you'll never wear. Wear those clothes first, then go out, get rid of those things, have a yard sale, to bring in more income for yourself. And so I know that this question was about resources, but I just think that that is something that we need to really, even tap into first, the mindset of money, and having that connection and being aware of, what drives you to spend, or to save. Go get into the root of it all. Were you a person that didn't have a lot, growing up? And so you said that my kids will never, they'll get whatever they ask for, but you're doing them a disservice in being that way, so going back and healing from your past hurts, so that you can teach your children a better foundation, then they can really have better than you, because you have implanted in their mind better thoughts about the relationship with money. And so yeah.
That is so true. Like, just really piggybacking on what you're saying, I think it really, the most essential resource initially is looking at your relationship with yourself, going back to identity, because a lot of the decisions that we make with money tie back to that. Like, do you have a healthy outlook of yourself? Because when we don't, that's when we start trying to prove things with money. We go, how often do people buy cars, clothes, purses, shoes, electronic gadgets to appear, for the appearance of them for other people? You have to always have the latest phone. Why? And it's one thing if you got it like that and you're flowing, but it doesn't make sense to get stimulus checks and you get thousands of dollars and have them 1 month and the next month you don't have a dime. That doesn't make sense. And it's like the same mentality of getting a big income tax return and every year buying new furniture. Something's wrong with that. Like, why? And you, like you said, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? are there parts of my identity that are rooted in things that are not healthy?
Right.
So examining that, knowing that our relationship with money is really a symptom of something else going on in us. What I had to realize is that my relationship with money was a branch that was connected to something else. And so I have to look at that. What I have to first start doing is look at that branch and recognize, where did it come from?
Yeah.
And what do I need to do to adjust it? What do I need to adjust in my mindset of the way that I look at myself that makes me think that I have to prove something with money? You know what I'm saying? Like literally being able, and I can remember, even for me, this has been a decades thing, because I can remember at a point buying, now I don't care what purse I carry, but I mean, like investing money. Why? And it's okay. Again, I say, if you have it like that, but it just doesn't make sense to be in a place of having a name brand purse and your lights are cut off. Don't make sense. It doesn't. It does not make sense to have on name brand shoes and don't have groceries to buy. It doesn't make sense for you to have, please don't nobody throw nothing at me, but it doesn't make sense to have 200 feet long hair and your children don't have pencils and different things for school. And I've seen it.
You're speaking truth. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to spend hundreds up to $1,000s on a child's birthday party so that it looks great, and then you don't have money to buy that child a notebook.
That's right. You're speaking
And
truth.
those are the things,
Yeah.
those are the things that we have done, that we have carried out. And it's like, why? What are you trying to prove? And it just, like getting the first resource, I would say, is getting to the root behind the choices that I make.
Yeah.
What do I need to change? Why am I operating in that manner? And then as we examine it, be honest with yourself. Like literally, I was great. I'm like, God, thank you. Thank you. And it's layers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's layers, because I thought I had come to a place of, and God showed me in this pandemic, honey, you still have more layers.
Yeah.
You still have more layers that need to be pulled off of this. And I know that there's even more.
Yeah.
And so it's like, allow that time to get to the layers and to pull them off and start thinking like, why? It's really about motive. What is the reason? What is motivating me to make this choice with my money? What am I trying to prove? Why do I have to, it's like in 2020, I needed to change my car out. My other car was a lease. I needed to trade it out. At that point, I could make a decision. I had money to get a bigger car, but I know I'm trying to pay off debt. So what? Get the next one up just so I can prove something to somebody?
Right.
Why?
Right.
What are you trying to prove? And a lot of times we're trying to prove things to people. And when you're in that place where you feel like you're doing stuff financially, if you're doing it to show somebody else something, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So, right, like literally, that is the first resource. And then taking advantage of classes, and we have everything else on social media.
Yeah.
So instead of scrolling, looking at what Susie and BB are doing in their home and what they ate for dinner last night, scroll and look for, different information. And there are some people that I may not necessarily agree with everything that they're saying, but God will allow me to pick up information from things that they have shared. And I don't believe in just throwing people's names down, but there's one guy, a Christian guy that is very popular, that gives great financial advice. Now he
Tell
says
us his name. We need his name.
But I don't agree with other things that he said in relationship to like African American. I just felt some kind of way about other things that he was saying. And so I was like, that doesn't mean I not take his financial advice. I just, you know what I'm saying? So
take the meat
and throw out the bones. So look at that. And I'm going to shut up after this, but one of the other things that helped me during the pandemic is looking for other flows of income that are
Mhm.
connected to my purpose.
Yes.
So getting tapped into those things and
Yes.
doing them and using that during the school year, there was they had opportunities within Jefferson County to do different things. I was able to work with a girls club, do different things. That's me working in my purpose and
Hmm.
bringing in additional flow. And guess what? When that came in, what do? Don't use it to go buy something else. Go use that to pay off debt. So literally, there are resources for education. There are resources, even looking into, because my mindset now is, okay, Lord, what is another flow of income that I can tap into that does not involve me pyramiding or something like that? But looking into just other things. But yeah, girl, I could
Hmm.
go on. Let me.
No, that's good. That's why we at the table, so we can talk about it. And I think that's good. The other streams, being creative. So like we were saying, people need to just start thinking about that. Take time to sit
Mm-hmm.
down and think on these particular topics, because it's going to help you. I wanted to share, I made some notes so I can make sure I share some points that I was thinking about. But just like pacing our spending, pacing our purchasing, even now that it's opening back up and people are able to go out, still pace yourself.
Mhm.
Don't be so excited, that we just go out and we are more impulsive.
Mhm.
And then we look back and we think, wow, I have nothing else left. So pace our purchasing power, that we have. And we do have power. And sometimes it would be nice if at some point we get to a level where, because the economy is driven on supply and demand, but we need to make sure that at certain times when people are trying to outcharge us, we need to be smart and stop buying. And I think sometimes we just keep, because look, I was looking on airline tickets. They have gone crazy with these airline tickets. Why? Because they know now people are out like at any cost. I don't care. I just gotta get out. And they're literally spending like $800 round trip to go somewhere. It's crazy. Like I could not, I'm like, these flights are ridiculous. So, the economy knows how to do that. People with the money know how to do that. But we need to be probably a little more wiser in our spending and say, okay, y'all wanna jack up everything, but we ain't gonna do nothing. This is where it be Black Friday, Saturday, and Monday. We'll show y'all. We're gonna take y'all numbers down, and y'all gonna have to scale down on your prices. But that's the consumer being smarter, though. It's the consumers coming to reality and saying, no, we're not doing it. You're going to bring it down. But they know us. They know we're impulsive. The grocery store knows that we're not good at handling our emotions and our impulses of needs. That's why they put certain things right by the checkout and they merchandise certain things together. When I work with Kroger's, that was they tell it, look, put that with that. That right there is about 90% markup. They're going to buy that because they great buy that and put that with that. They know what they're doing. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just them. I love Kroger. So I ain't trying to call them out. I love Kroger. It's everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the consumer, it's on the consumer to be a little more smarter
Mhm.
because we can really control it. We don't understand how much power we got. We think it's the people who really got the money, but it's us. No, I'm not buying that. If we shut that down, that price is going to go down. And they're going to come to a level that's convenient for us.
Mhm.
That's the power we have. If we can get that, oh my goodness, some things would shift, for us if we could get that. Stabilize our spending and then take time to travel. It's good. Take time to travel, but just budgeting that in and maintaining our reserve. Make sure we have our reserve. Don't tap into our reserve. I'm so proud of myself. Since last year, I've been doing this money manage challenge every pay period, put money away, saving it, and it's still sitting there. Glory to God.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Have not touched it. So I'm so excited about that.
Can you share that on the page? That helped me too. The
Yes, and it's
saving
simple.
chart
It's
that you
little
had.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes you feel like you gotta do a lot. Just those little small, and it adds up. And the end of the year, you're like, oh yeah, I'm good. If something pop off, at least I got this as an emergency fund. And if you do it for multiple years, then you really building up a good pot there. So I will put that. When you noted poverty, I'm gonna say this because I wrote this down because somebody posted this one day and I was like, oh my goodness, this is good. So I wrote it down. Low income causes stress and mental health issues. And poverty is trauma. I was like, that is so good. It does cause that for us. So that's why, look, we just came out of even talking about making sure we keep our mental health good. That includes our money, you all. That balance of our money. So to both of you all's already stated point, and I think we're having a running theme here, is getting to the root of our financial decisions so we can have good mental health and make those decisions in a more appropriate way that causes us to walk in a wealthy place. And not comparing ourselves to, I'm going to just throw up something like Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. They got whatever money. I want to be wealthy. Might not be them. I don't know. That may be in my future at that level of wealth, right? Or riches. But if you can have a level of wealth that you can sustain and you don't have any needs, that's rich. That is a good place.
Yeah.
And you're not stressed about it. Bills are not late. You're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're not juggling here and there for certain things. You're able to do what you need to do, when you need to do it, how you need to do it, and still have a good reserve on the side.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wealthy place. That's where we need to be. And look, if an investment opportunity comes up, that I'm walking in such a wealthy place that I'm able to go and invest in it and be the lender and not the borrower.
Come on.
That I can go buy that property. I don't have to go to the bank. What you talking about? Well, how much? I'm write a check.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we want to be. That's where we want to be. And that takes the effort. Yes, that's good. Summer listed a good comment. Getting to the root of generational poverty, because we have to bust that up.
Yes.
And we have to talk, but it's talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. This might not be a popular table talk because people are finances. Click up. I'm clicking to the next one. No, don't click. Don't stop. Listen to it. If anything, it's just going to provoke some thoughts for you to begin to look and meditate and see where you are so that we can be better. That's our goal, is to be better. So we can give our leftovers here if you all want to think about them. I'll give some that I wrote down real quick. Number one, eliminate the unknown with the budget. So eliminate, the pressures of something coming up later that's unknown. If we have a budget, we're able to do that. And being more, I think Bernice mentioned this, just being more accountable of writing down where certain things are going. Do you know where your money's going? Do you know? I'll share on the page as well. There's a spreadsheet that I've used for a couple of years that you can just plug in where stuff went. If you want to see it, you're more than welcome to use it or not. But I think it's a good resource because it just helps you see where are the things going. Is most of your money going on clothes? Or most of it going on food? Is most of it going on, your utilities and different things that you have? How can you adjust that and make the adjustments? Number two, we did mention is know your weakness. When you know your limitation, you can effectively manage that. So if I know what gets me, I have to make sure that I'm managing that, whatever my weakness is, in that process there. And then lastly, and I saw this, not mine, this is something I saw from somebody else, but I thought it was good. Okay, exercising your body helps free your mind. So then you're able to make better decisions, even financially. So to the point of how we're trying to make better health decisions, this also ties in together because then it helps our mind, that mind-body connection, so that I can make better decisions financially and not be as impulsive when I'm balanced holistically with my health as well, so that we can do that. So those are my points. I'll let y'all give y'all leftovers.
Martina?
Oh, I was going to say, Bernice, you go ahead. I would say my leftovers, some of them may sound simple, but one is don't spend money you don't have. So, it would be better, like if you're in a case, first of all, we need to make sure that we're keeping up when our bills are due. I know there were years where I wasted money just by being late on things because I wasn't keeping track of the dates they were due. And it doesn't make sense to have the money to pay a bill and then be assessed a late fee simply because you did not keep up with the due date. So, okay, so one,
That's
keep
why the
track of
auto
when,
payment, I'm sorry to interrupt. So the auto pay, that's why that'll work. And
yes.
budget billing, because you know what the bill's gonna be every month. You're not dealing with any late charges, and they take it out ACH. So maybe setting yourself up that way if you can, for those who may want to consider that option.
So, like that is it seems simple, but it's important to keep up with when things are due. And then if you have something due and you don't have the money to pay that bill, instead of paying it and knowing it's going to send your paycheck, send your account in a negative, reach out to the company and say, listen, I do not have it right now. Can we make some type of payment arrangement? Sometimes what we'll do, again, out of a poverty mentality, go ahead and pay it and know you don't have it. So don't spend money that you do not have, and literally recognizing that yes, we have a relationship with money, but money is not me.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like knowing that I have a relationship with money, but that I do not have to use money to be a representation of who I am. My identity is greater than money. But getting a healthy relationship with ourselves and knowing who God created us to be so that we can spend wisely. And it's more important for me to invest in getting out of debt than for me to project that I'm wealthy. So like right now, my goal is to get out of debt. I don't care who thinks what about what I have. It's really about me spending, like prioritizing. Money is about setting priorities. So a priority right now is getting out of debt. Yes, I'm going to use some money to, go on trips with my family or whatever and do things to relax. But in the midst of it, like, Lord, that is a priority. I want to be debt free. And the word of God says, oh, no man, nothing but to love him. So I want to be debt free. And so that is a goal that I'm working towards. So really my leftover is to really just take some time to examine our identity and then see the offshoots of financial reactions that are related to our identity, and just allow time for God to minister to you about it. And then don't just talk about it, but do things. I'm just going to throw this, like I opened up a Credit Karma account. I know that it doesn't give my exact credit score, but it gives me a great roundabout information about my credit score. You know what I mean? And I go through that, and really, I found that your real credit score is normally higher than that. So, just taking steps to do different things, and don't compare yourself to other people. That is one of the things that can really get us in trouble, is if we're trying to live like so and so and try to, like Bernice, April, and I are all in different situations. Bernice I am single and don't have children. So Bernice is single and has children, and her youngest child is 18. April has children. Yeah, she's about to have an empty nest. April has older and younger kids. I mean, kids that are in college. So what I'm saying is that we are all sisters in Christ, but we cannot, we can't expect our lives to look identical, because we have different ingredients in our lives, right? And so when you have different ingredients, the outcome's going to be different. So literally just finding the pattern that God has for you and allowing him to show you yourself and show you better ways to utilize the money. I'm going to zip it up. Anyway, have a nice day.
Okay, so my leftovers. April frozen like that. Look how she's frozen, smiling. And so April got frozen on her. And so my 5 points, my points, I got 5 points, and God speaks to me in acronyms, and I have an
Bring it
acronym.
on out.
And so we're going to we're going to make a decision to do better with our money. Just simply make a decision to do better with our money. And then we're going to own our emotions when it concerns money and finances, and own it. It's yours. We have to take ownership of that. And then we know that now is the time to start saving. Wherever age you are, now is the time. I don't care if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Now is the time. It's never a time that's too late or too early. So save now. Now is, you want to know the time? Now's the time to save. And then we're going to explore other streams of income, because we can't just be dependent on one source, of income, one resource, because there's only one source, but
Right.
a resource of income. And so we have to explore those other streams. And then just know that, yes, I can. Simple. Yes, I can. I can save the money. I can make good decisions. I can tap into my emotions. I can explore other streams of income. Don't allow fear or of the unknown, because you're doing something different from what you're used to, because you're unlearning some things, unlearning some behaviors. Know that you can do it. And so if you first start at the bottom, started with the why, yes, I can. Yes, I can. And so we can change our mindsets as it concerns our finances, and we can be a whole lot better, and be holistically better. And that's it.
That's good. She's gonna
Yeah.
have to drop that again on the
Mhm.
hey.
Say those real quick, because I missed the first couple. Can you run through real quick?
Make a decision to do better. Make
Make a
a
decision.
decision to do better. Just make the decision. Sometimes we like, oh, just make the decision that this is what I'm going to do, and start small. You might do the money savings thing that April's going to drop on the page. You might say, write down the list of all of your bills. You might just, whatever it is, just make the decision to do it. And then, to own your emotions as it concerns your finances. And for me, I realized that I make pretty decent money, but I still had a impoverished mindset, because I had to spend and do things now, because I didn't think that I was going to be able to have it later. And that is a poverty mindset. And now is the time to start saving, no matter what age you are, where you are, how young, how old you are. Now is the time. You want to know what time? Now, right now is the time. And then explore other streams of income. Explore it. If it doesn't work, explore something else. What do you have in your hands that you can do that can be a source of income? Because people have a lot of talents, and people will pay you for those talents. So
Mm-hmm.
are you even utilizing what is in your hands? So ask yourself, what is in my hands that I can use as income to bring into the storehouse of my home? And then, yes, I can. And then
Yes,
we
I
can make
can.
more money. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes,
And
I can.
can
That's
I
right.
throw
That's what we can.
this package of sauce with the leftover?
Put the
Oh, some
sauce.
sauce.
With her,
Sauce.
when she said now is the time, a very key thing is to stop procrastinating, because sometimes we even
Yeah.
procrastinate when it comes to decisions regarding our money. And I know that has been an issue for me. Like, literally, stop procrastinating. There are things that God at times has given me to bring in another stream, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get to it. Stop procrastinating.
Yes. Yes.
That is so good. So today's a good day to start. we can't wait.
Now.
So, if you're watching this, if you come later and watch it, when you hear this, just encourage yourself. Yes, I can. Start now, wherever you are. I like what Martina said. All of our equations and situations are different, but you know where you are. You
Mm-hmm.
know where you are. Nobody has to talk about it. You know where you are. And I know sometimes this topic makes people a little antsy, and we don't, it's kind of like, that's my business. Look,
Right.
this is one of them conversations where when your mama whoop your butt because you don't went and said, don't be telling stuff in my house. This is one of those, because we don't want nobody to know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. This is a
Mm-hmm.
part of that liberty that we have in him. So real quick, I want to just touch on, I'm gonna put this on the page so you'll have it as well. But there's classes coming up, so invest in yourself. There's some classes that are offered here locally. There's one that's online, that's offered through Louisville Urban League, also through the Resilience and Community Services Organization. I'm gonna put all the dates that they have on there. You just go online. It's really simple. That's available. I'm gonna download and put on there a cash flow worksheet for you if you want to use it. Also, the Community Financial Empowerment Organization is actually having a course that's online as well. It's on Google Teams. You just put the link in and you go through the course, and you can get certified to then share this information through them. So for people who have a passion for that, this may be an opportunity for you to kind of get into the financial realm. So we'll share that as well, because I want to leave with some resources, to be honest, so that you can use them or not, but that they're available and look in other places. Lastly, Bernice mentioned Goodwill Services. So they do have some things locally. If you want to go to their website and check that out, they actually have some virtual classes coming up. The next one is on June 24th. So you can hit that class. We'll put that on the website as well. And these are available for you. And lastly, before we end, I just want Bernice to just share briefly, because that connection ties in Goodwill Services. They got financial, but Women of Intent is now partnering with Goodwill Services, and I'll let her share so that you all can know about that opportunity and share in that as well.
Yes, a lot of times, we not a lot of times, but we have to start in our mind. Our
Mm-hmm.
mind moves us, and so Women of Intent, we offer weekly sessions twice a week on Thursdays at 6 p.m. and on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. at Goodwill Industries. We have partnered with Goodwill Industries to provide a safe space for women to come and to be renewed, to be restored, and to be supported, to be educated, to be enriched, and to be developed. And so if you are a woman in the Louisville area, join us at Goodwill Industries, 909 East Broadway. You enter on the Campbell side at the Resource Center, and we would love for you to join us in that space that was created just for you. We all go through different things, but we
Mm-hmm.
all have one central foundation, that we are women and we are trying to be intentional about our lives, intentional about our
Mhm.
purpose. So join us on Thursdays, every Thursday, 6 p.m., every Saturday, 10 a.m. for the rest of the year. We are here for you. So join us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That's a great opportunity, to
Mm-hmm.
our point of some things you can do to be intentional, to start changing the mindset. Even some of the topics that comes up and Bernice explores in these sessions will help you begin to even bust up those particular mindsets, that will then, because sometimes we have layers even on top of the money
Yeah.
issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you may need to go into those
Yes.
particular settings and have a safe place to lift up some of those other layers so we can dig a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people are like, I don't even want to deal with the money piece because I got to deal with this piece
Right.
first,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So you know where you are,
Mhm.
woman of God.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know where you are, sister.
Yes.
You are
Yes.
our sister, and yes, you are a daughter of God. So we're lifting you up here at Table Talks, but we want to provide resources and dialogue that helps kind of break up the fallow ground. Every
Yes.
time we come and talk, we just break up the fallow ground, so that those seeds can then be planted on good ground.
Yes.
And it's up to you to continue to walk that out so it's watered and it's increased the way that it's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be increased. So make a decision today. If you're watching now or later, make a decision today that you're going to be intentional and you're gonna work some things out. Look, and I'm gonna tie this in, sister to sister, because see, Martina got sister and sister to sister. Look, so sister to sister, and her sessions are available as well. Look, there's resources for you
Yeah.
to be able to go and get enhanced and enriched, right? So we're coming to you, sister to sister, here at Table Talks, as Martina lends her gift as well, to say we want to be better, all of us. And that's why we come to the table. And there's a seat always for you here at this table. And we'll see you next month when we
Look,
come. And we
before
hope
you
you'll
close
join.
out, April, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
you
This
messed up
really
my
came.
flow. I had
I'm
my
sorry,
phone
but
tied
really,
in.
because it makes me think about what you're doing with the youth empowerment, with your youth empowerment program. So we have to throw that out there to really people that are parents. Encourage your youth, encourage your children to begin learning about finances too. So literally, I just don't want us to leave without that. You do not have to wait to be an adult to start learning about finances, and that really for parents to take the time to start teaching their children about
Now.
finances, and even looking for financial programs for the youth, and even like your sessions for youth empowerment. I just want to, because some people start teaching their children at a young age, but poverty mentality will have you thinking that you don't need to train your children about finances, but really it starts as a child. So anyway, that's it.
It starts early. Yes.
Yeah.
Visit Olive Tree Resources. We actually did a session recently. The video's there for parents because that's our goal, to empower families, including the future generation. We have to start now. So thank you all. We'll see you all next month. And thank you, thank you, thank you.